Nkechi was a very beautiful young woman who believed she was destined for a life of luxury. Growing up in a very simple home, she would often say, "I wasn't created to suffer. I deserve the baby girl treatment." While her older sister Amara was contented with a simple life, Nkechi dreamed of wealth, luxury and extravagance. When fate blessed Amara with a wealthy husband, Nkechi became even more determined to marry someone wealthy to escape the struggles of everyday life. At Amara's grand wedding, Nkechi couldn't help but admire the wealth around her. The fancy decorations and the guests were mostly rich business partners of Amara's husband. It was here that Nkechi met Obi, a young charismatic billionaire. It was everything she had ever wanted in a man: charming, powerful, and most importantly, wealthy. The two quickly grew close, and Obi became her key to the life she had always imagined. Despite the warnings from her close friends, Nkechi was adamant. Obi was her dream come true. Amara, now happily married, noticed something unsettling about Obi's behavior, but Nkechi brushed it off, saying, "Not everyone is perfect." Within 6 months, Nkechi and Obi were married, and she was living her dream life: fancy cars, exotic vacations, and expensive gifts. Nkechi's new life was everything she imagined, but beneath the surface, cracks began to show. Obi was controlling and possessive. He demanded that she quit her job, insisting he could provide for her and that she had no need to work. Nkechi initially saw this as another luxury and freedom from responsibilities, but soon she began to feel trapped. It was one night, after a lavish dinner birthday party for Nkechi, when Obi's true nature emerged. A small argument escalated, and Obi slapped Nkechi. She was both stunned and confused, but she convinced herself it was a one-time mistake. After all, she had the life she wanted. As time passed, Obi's violence became more frequent. Nkechi was terrified but ashamed to confide in anyone, especially Amara. She was supposed to have everything: a soft life, the baby girl treatment, not bruises hidden under designer's clothing. Obi, on the other hand, seemed unbothered. He continued to shower her with gifts, as though money could erase his actions. Nkechi became isolated. Obi didn't allow her to see her friends and family often, and the few times she did, she painted a very perfect picture of her marriage. No one suspected the horrors she endured behind closed doors. Meanwhile, Nkechi prayed that things would change, clinging to the dream of a perfect life. A year into their marriage, Nkechi discovered she was pregnant. For a brief moment, her world brightened. She became very happy and believed that the baby would change everything. Obi would finally soften up, and they could live the happy life she had always imagined. But Obi's anger only grew worse. Nkechi tried her best to stay positive for the sake of our unborn child. She focused on buying baby things and preparing for motherhood. But Obi's temper grew worse, and his jealousy and anger made every day a ticking time bomb. One fateful night, Obi returned home in a rage after a business deal went wrong. In his fury, he accused Nkechi of not being supportive enough. When she tried to reason with him, he lashed out, and in the heat of their argument, he pushed her. Nkechi fell, and immediately she felt an excruciating pain. Blood pooled beneath her, and she was rushed to the hospital. At the hospital, Nkechi was met with devastating news. The fall had caused a miscarriage, and the doctors told her that the effect of the fall was so severe that it had caused a damage to her womb, and she could no longer conceive again. It wasn't just the loss of her baby, it was the loss of the life she had always imagined. The one thing that had kept her going through the abuse. The pain of losing her child and her future shattered Nkechi. She felt utterly alone. Obi, instead of offering comfort, blamed her for the miscarriage. His cruelty seemed boundless, and Nkechi began to realize the full weight of her choices. Nkechi became a shadow of the vibrant woman she once was. The mansion she lived in felt more like a prison, and the luxury that once brought joy to her now seemed hollow. She could no longer hide the bruises, neither the ones on her body nor the ones on her soul. Amara, sensing something was terribly wrong, reached out to her sister. After months of evading her family, Nkechi finally confided in Amara about the abuse, the loss of her baby, and her shattered dreams. Amara was heartbroken, but determined to help her sister escape the toxic marriage. With Amara's support, Nkechi made the difficult decision to leave Obi. It wasn't easy. Obi was powerful, and his control over her was suffocating. But with the help of Amara, Nkechi began to plan her escape carefully. One evening, when Obi was out of town for business, Nkechi packed her belongings and left the mansion for good. She sought refuge at Amara's place, finally leaving and feeling a sense of safety and relief. When Obi came back and found the house empty, with few of her things gone, he was furious, and a confrontation seemed inevitable. Obi tracked Nkechi down, demanding she return to him, but this time, Nkechi stood her ground. With the support of her family and her friends, and the newfound strength within her, she refused to go back to a life of abuse, no matter how luxurious it seemed. Obi's influence and wealth couldn't protect him from the consequences of his action. Nkechi filed for divorce, and with the help of Amara and a legal protection, she began to rebuild her life, free from Obi's control. The road to recovery was long, but Nkechi slowly began to heal. She worked on rebuilding her self-esteem and learned that true wealth was not in material possessions, but in peace of mind, love, and personal strength. With time, Nkechi found a new purpose in helping other women who had suffered from domestic abuse. She began speaking out, using her story to inspire others to break free from toxic relationships, regardless of the lifestyle they offered. Though the loss of her child remained a deep scar, Nkechi found joy in small things again: family, friendships, and the simple pleasures of life. She learned to value herself beyond the superficial and embraced a more fulfilling, authentic life. Amara remained by Nkechi's side, offering unconditional love and support. Their bond grew stronger, and Nkechi realized that true wealth was in friendships that nurtured her soul, not in material things she once craved for. Nkechi began exploring new career opportunities and embraced her independence. She realized that she was capable of providing for herself and didn't need a man's wealth to live a fulfilling life. Though the journey was painful, Nkechi emerged stronger and wiser. She no longer envied the life of luxury, but cherished the freedom and peace she had fought so hard to achieve. Moral lessons: true happiness and love cannot be bought with wealth and luxury. The story reminds us that genuine fulfillment comes from within, and that a life focused on a superficial desire can lead to insignificant personal cost. Nkechi's journey highlights that the pursuit of a soft life is not worth sacrificing one's dignity, safety, and self-worth. Ultimately, it is the inner peace and authenticity that bring lasting joy and contentment. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more enticing videos like this.